Hello everyone, this is Xali speaking in Sinister version of Annihilator build. For those uninformed, what is Sinister? Sinister is as if Rabid and Knight had a baby. Primary stat condition damage, secondary power and precision, so it combines the damage of Knight and damage of Rabid, having no defenses like Berserker. In short, Sinister is to Staff what Berserker is to Greatsword. Okay, first tool at our disposal, Signet of Domination. Observe an escaping engineer. I am using Signet of Domination to stun him for 3 seconds and stop his escape. The passive component of this Signet, condition damage, is always useful, but the active one is the most important. 3 seconds stun can be a game changer in small scale fights. You can stop an opponent from escaping, you can prepare your burst, you can get distance, whatever. And now time for the damage component of our toolbox. I have traded Illusionary Elasticity, so the clones bounce once more. If Chaos Storm interrupts enemy sufficiently enough, and the clones will not be killed by enemy players, and then I manage to shatter, causing torment upon enemy, then the damage I am able to deal is far higher than whatever I have ever seen on Berserker. Now the other set I am using is Sword Focus. Torment makes it impossible for enemies to move. Sword is the highest mesmer damaging option in power component. Every shatter of mine causes confusion. So I can displace an opponent shouldn't attack because confusion, shouldn't move because torment, but if they don't, I will kill them with sword. And if they lack constant condition removal, clones, staff clones, will rip him apart with bleeds and burns. In short, this is a total shutdown build. Okay, so it has the damage, but how does it fare when it is attacked by a guardian with high condition removal abilities? The current situation doesn't look very well. To recover, I lost Blink and I don't have Mass Invisibility. Swapping to Sword and Shattering not only forced enemy to use condition removal, but also dealt some visible damage to them, as if I was in Knight. Then by moving to Staff, I was able to displace myself and force enemy to fight under my terms in Chaos Storm. Uncritted Warlock is 1000 damage, critted Chaos Storm is 1000 damage. Although the clones do perish this time, they are able to deal 1 or 2 hits. This amounts to quite visible bleeds and burns. I am trying to position the clones far away from my opponent, so he can't kill both the clones and hit me. Staff Mesmer is very hard to pin down, it's a very slippery build. This is magnified by putting Torment on my opponent, so the opponent doesn't really want to run towards me. Guardian has a lot of condition removal, but first of all, I am not using a purely condition build, and second, Guardian has burst condition removal. He doesn't drop conditions all the time. And conditions counteract natural healing. Like Healing Signet or Regeneration or Cleric Gear, you know, stuff like that. Okay, this duel, Glass Longbow Ranger. The terrain is horrible, it's completely open space. On top of that, I misclicked, so no Reflection Warden on a Ranger. Now, I should have distorted to reflect the rapid fire, but I didn't think fast enough. So the solution, although very counterintuitive, is obvious. Charge at the Ranger. I have prepared a portal to have a place to escape to, put Chaos Storm, used the distortion to reflect whatever is there and charged. Now, Reflections is the area which got hit by changing from Berserker to Sinister. Reflects use my critical damage, not opponent's critical damage, and my precision, but their power. Still, it's good enough. Enemy Ranger is built to deal maximum possible damage, but it means they lack condition removal and other fun stuff. This means I was able to outmaneuver him, use Portal to return behind the Warden, and the Ranger killed himself using a reflection of my Warden. Even with me making mistakes, even on preferred ground of the Ranger, this fight was not one-sided. The key to this fight was, as usual when you face Rangers, positioning. Okay, so where's the weakness of this particular build? First, it deals damage mostly when clones are able to bounce twice on the same opponent. So, if there are many opponents, clones will hit only once. Second, clones will lose their targeting when enemy goes into stealth. Third, clones are glass, it's not Rabid, they don't have toughness. You sneeze, they die. 4, you are kiteable, simply because of the specifics of the, stuff. 5, you are glass and susceptible to burst. This means the worst possible opponent to face would be a Shatter Mesmer. Sure, in this fight I have made several mistakes I shouldn't have made, really, but enemy Mesmer, having smaller condition removal than Guardian, didn't get so many conditions even if I targeted them, simply because of what I said earlier. Side note, I miss the burst from Berserker, but I can't have everything. Okay, so knowing that, what would be the role in a party of this build? First, set a portal and prepare it so you can escape. Note that in this clip I don't have a portal ready. Next, single out a particular opponent and try to down him. If it gets too hot, portal away. Else, stomp and then portal away. Now, in light of this small reliance on portal I have just said, do you see a flow of this clip? Right now I am downed and I hope for a good rally from my friends. In the meantime, because I don't have any advertisement ready, I can tell you a bit about difference between shatter and keeping clones alive. If you are able to single out an opponent, it's far better to leave your clones alive. The double bounce, especially if you've got two clones and you auto-attack as well from staff, is simply deadly. But when your clones are under attack, or when there are more enemies and the bounce would simply split, it's far better to shatter. As a rule of thumb, if I'm fighting 1 versus 1 or 1 versus 2, I will leave my clones up. More, I'm going to shatter. Not only shatters apply confusion and torments to enemies, but also they give me mites. So, this time I've got my portal ready to use, which will be quite useful simply because I have attracted an unwanted attention from my opponents. After porting I can't really move because torment would kill me, I need to wait out the conditions. All my condition removals are only on here. No need to panic, I've got two opponents on me and now I am able to kind of kite them. Combination of traded blink and staff is insane mobility. On top of that, I've got runes of the traveler, so I'm quite fast. If someone gets too close to me, I can always turn around and use Signet of Domination to slow them down. Okay, let me accelerate the kiting part because it's not really interesting to watch. Okay, why the kiting? Why the pulling enemies? First, so less people are on my friends. Second, because I want to change it into 1 versus 1 at some point. Preferably far away from them to be able to destroy someone. And it actually happened. An engineer decided to approach me. Now, engineer and elementalist, especially in celestial configurations, are current meta classes. This is what prompted me to go Sinister. Blocks or mist form means it's very hard to burst them, but conditions pierce blocks. Although power component of Sinister is not as strong as Berserker, it is still visible. So power component is used to force them to activate the active defenses, while conditions will eat them up while they have the active defenses. In short, I am playing Sinister as if I was playing Berserker. I simply stretch the damage and time. Now this time I have portal ready, so after stomping an opponent I am able to port away and survive. Time to test how would the Sinister Annihilator work against an organized party. Unfortunately, food ran out, so I don't have condition duration increased. Enemy charged with defenses up, so my Signet of Domination was eaten by Engineer's block. Next I horribly miscasted the Chaos Storm. Now that's what I call a good beginning. So enemies focused our Necromancer while we focused their Engineer. Fortunately, Blip was able to use Flesh Worm and escape, while I was able to use Mass Invis and break enemy targeting. Then I think they focused on Brimhorn, which is always a bad choice. Now, we are totally used to guerrilla fighting and fending for each other because we don't really cooperate very closely. We are skirmishers. We also drop quite a lot of crowd controls to pull enemies from each other. Something eventually had to connect with an engineer and he got downed in the process. After the first enemy died and all active defenses were out, the victory was just a matter of time, of proper focusing the targets and nuking them. A moment after the Mesmer got downed, to prevent enemy elementalist from doing anything useful, I used Signet of Domination on him, which resulted in Warlock dealing almost 5000 damage to him. What I have noticed is another meta shift. People go Celestial and Survival, not Burst. This means that to counter them I need Attrition, maximum possible damage. And conDs eat through active defenses, while stuns open burst for others. Alright, in this clip we are trying to take a fully upgraded camp. And we got jumped by 3 opponents. As they have an advantage of surprise, the beginning looks very bleak. I was able to use Signet of Domination the last moment to save Drew from the Necromancer, but sadly it was not enough to save Drakon. Well, it was because he was focused by 2 others. So I'm the only one having at least some hit points, and this is a corridor, and it is impossible for me to res Drakon, so the only logical way was to port away and reassess the situation. In short, it sucked. Drew got 2 enemies on the plateau while Necromancer was guarding the portal, so I ported and blinked. Drew was testing an experimental Sinister Trapper Ranger to see whether the Trapper Ranger will be better than Celestial Ranger. Spoiler, no it isn't. so I decided to take fire on me from both Ranger and the Necromancer. It worked surprisingly well, because Necromancers don't really have active defenses. As this particular opponent was low on both hit points and life force, I had to wait till he tries to heal. I used Signal of Domination as an interrupt, which was enough in this case. And then I had my stupid moment. I should have either blinked away and used Curtain to defend from a Ranger, or pull a Ranger with a Curtain not using Warden. Or, well, anything but giving the Ranger opportunity to shoot at me from distance while I am controlled having a stun break already. Or this situation here, also what I should have never done. I should have hit enemy Necromancer so he cannot simply res, and then face the Ranger. Fortunately, Drew was around to save the situation. So, thank you for watching, hope I have managed to show you something interesting, and wherever you fight on World vs World, against us, on our side, doesn't matter. Have fun, live long and prosper. Urxalis out.